What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Comically Boston. Today is episode 55. Today is 4/20/2023. Get those blunts and smoke them. No, if you're not a weed smoker, not up for you. But if you are a weed smoker, get you some smoke and toke it. For those of you that are new, my name's Big Cam. Welcome back. The other night, the Celtics played Game 2 versus the Hawks. They picked up another W, 119-106. We now improved to 2-0 in that series. Jason Tatum had 29 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. Jaylen Brown had 18 points. Derek White had 26. He had 14 points in the fourth quarter. He has been playing very well. Derek White, you have surpassed what everyone thought you were going to do. A lot of people thought you were just going to be a bench player and not that great. But Derek White, you have been a stud all season long. I think you should win Most Improved Player. And keep it up, brother. Javante Murray scored 26. Trae Young had 24. We need to keep those two scoring less points. But Game 3 versus Atlanta is at Atlanta Friday night. So we'll be checking that out. That will be tomorrow. Last night, two shows had their episodes premiere. The season finale of The Mandalorian we'll talk about in just a little bit. But let's talk about episode 6 of Ted Lasso real quick. Of their season 3. Ted Lasso's last episode, they were in Amsterdam, and it was a great episode. It's going to be a turning point for them. They've been losing games, and Ted needs to really figure out soccer, so Ted got high, but did he really? Probably not. So he just, was in his head and watching the Bulls and this little, feeling homesick, so he went to the most American place in Amsterdam, which had like 2 stars. It was a great, funny episode, and you had Jamie Tart and Roy Kent doing funny shit, but also, becoming closer. Everyone became much closer this episode. The team were arguing where to go. They ended up having a pillow fight at the hotel. Colin, the gay kid, and Trent came out together, so now they're both friends, and they don't need to hide from each other. They're being gay or whatnot. And I thought that was beautiful. And then Rebecca falls into she's walking on the bike path, gets knocked into the river, falls in, her clothes get soaked, and this gentleman rescues her and feeds her dinner and drinks all night and gives her a foot massage. And the only thing she says to him is, she was obviously so drunk the night before that she goes, "Did we," basically asking him, "Did we fuck last night?" And he's like, "Did we? No." He's like, "You really think that I'm just gonna take advantage of you because you're drunk? Like, what kind of man do you take me for?" Which is like the worst question. Did we? Like, you're asking, like, what am I supposed to say? Yes, I raped you last night. Like, no. Like, come on. Like, so obviously he didn't. And then she leaves laughing because she's like, "I won't forget you." And he's like, "Well, you might." And she's like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "Well, some people get Alzheimer's, And so she starts laughing, she leaves, and then he just goes, "Did we?" "Yes, we did." And my sister's so dumb, she's sitting in the living room, she's like, "Wait, they did have sex?" And I'm like, "No, you moron. They did fall in love, though." And I hope that guy comes back, because her and Rebecca were good together. Even though I want her and Ted to get together, I don't know. Can your boss date your manager of your team? She's the boss. She can do whatever she wants, but it would be a tough position for Ted. Ted would be like, probably scrutinized for that because he's the manager of the team. "Oh yeah, that's the only reason you have the job is because you're dating the boss," type of thing. So, I don't know. I would like to see them together, but I'd also like to see Ted with Sassy. I'd like to see Roy Kent back with Keely, but I actually like Keely with her new girlfriend, Jack. So, that show's just amazing. And it just ends, it's just a funny show. Go check it out if you haven't. It's up on Apple TV+. But let's get into the Mandalorian season finale. Season 3 comes to an end, episode 8. Season finale, chapter 24, The Return, which a lot of people I have liked and a lot of people have disliked. I'm somewhere in the middle. I think it was a good episode. I think it was a good finale. But I think last episode, chapter 23, was much more, crazy and impactful. This felt kind of quick, but also kind of felt like they were just kind of wrapping the shit up and they were moving on to the next season. But let's go through what happened. Grogu ends up back with Din, because last episode Din gets tied up and taken, but they end up breaking out, so they get separated from the group, but Din and Grogu are together. They're gonna go after Moff Gideon, because Din's like, I don't really care, like, to let him live. We have to finish this now. And Grogu's like, okay, you know. So they go after Moff Gideon. And who is the return referring to? Are they referring to the return of the Empire? Are they referring to the return of Moff Gideon? If that's the case, he returned last episode, so I mean, I get it. Maybe that's why this is the title of this episode instead of last episode. But last episode was titled The Spies. Who are the spies? We still don't really know who the spies were, unless they're just talking about that little shadow council group of Empire people that were talking on holograms, but I don't know. And I think maybe that whole thing was just to set up Hux's brother as cloning tech, and that maybe is how Palpatine returned. But I hated that the whole cloning thing that was with Moff Gideon was just so Moff Gideon was cloning himself, and he was trying to put Grogu's force powers in himself. So he was trying to clone himself and give himself force powers. So what a narcissist. But Moff Gideon, man, and Din ends up destroying all of Moff's clones just by hitting a few buttons. That felt kind of like, all right, we finally get a payoff, we see it, and then now it's gone, so nobody cares, you know. And then why was Moff not in that room fighting for his clones, you know? Like, if that was his most valuable thing, why was he waiting for Din in another hangar? Like, I don't know, it just didn't make too much sense. But overall, it was still kind of good. But Din ends up going and fighting Moff, and then he's kind of losing because Moff brings in those 3 Emperor's guards, the dudes in the red. And actually, we get this great scene before this where Din's running through these, like, you know, red panels, and he has to have them deactivated by R5. So he's like, going, R5 deactivated, and then he's stabbing one with a knife, hitting them, stealing their weapons. Next one, drops the next layer, you know. So it was great action for a few minutes. Definitely not Pedro in the suit, though, for that action. So whoever the actors are doing the stunt work, shout out to you, because that stuff looked really cool. But it just kind of felt like there wasn't any real purpose. Like, once we got to where we were going, it was still kind of like, oh, now we're just here, now we're fighting Moff Gideon. And then those red guards come in, so we never really get a confirmation that Paz is dead, but from the last episode, he's dead. So, I don't know. I would like to see Paz not dead, but okay. I guess he is. So, the guards end up running after Grogu, because Grogu runs in as Din's about to get defeated, and he's like, no, 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 no. I love it because it's Taika's voice, and it's just yes or no, 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 no. But it's too funny because, right, you see Grogu like, running away in the little droid costume suit, whatever you want to call it. He runs off. Din gets very fatherly, so now he's like, no, Grogu, no, my baby, ah. So he runs after his baby, but he ends up getting caught by the neck from a Moff, from one of those, you know, wires. Pew! And so then Bo-Katan sees him and Din fighting, so Bo comes in and fights Moff Gideon for him, tells him to go after the baby. The baby's suit, IG-12, gets crushed, so now Grogu's up on top of the little rafters, flipping around, and they're getting swung at by the red guys. Din runs off to go fight him. Moff and Bo fight, and then you get like this kind of epic moment, but it's just like, doesn't feel like it, because it's like there's no eyeballs, there's no facial reactions, just 2 people in Mandalorian suits, and Moff Gideon feels super overpowered, like his suit's giving him strength or something. But I don't know, I just don't see how that's possible. It's supposed to be a suit that goes around your outside, it's supposed to be armor. How is it making your hands stronger? It's not like you have gloves on. Like, he's just got like regular gloves, like where you could still move your fingers. It's not like he's got this suit glove, you know, like an Iron Man glove. I don't know. They just gave him like this, he just felt very overpowered, and then he destroys the Darksaber. Like, huh? How are you gonna destroy the coolest weapon in such a non-cool way? and then Axe Woves crashes the fucking Lightspeed ship into it, and then fucking what's his name just dies. Moff Gideon ends up dies. The Darksaber's gone. And we don't even know if he's dead. We just know that he was in the Christ the Redeemer pose, and fire engulfs him, and then Grogu force bubbles a little force bubble around Din and Bo and Grogu himself, and he protects them from the fire, and they live. And then that's it for Moff. He's now gone. Probably. Grogu ends up going and getting adopted by Din Djarin, so now he is Din Grogu, so he is now a Mandalorian apprentice instead of foundling, so that's kind of where we're heading into the next season. But as Grogu gets adopted from Din, he looks down into the waters. We get this big, long, sweeping shot through the water, and it kind of pans in right on the eyeball of the Mythosaur, and the Mythosaur just kind of wakes up, so that's kind of interesting. Are they trying to set up that the Mythosaur, the person that's going to save Mandalore, is Grogu? I still want to see Grogu in his armor and with the Darksaber, but if the Darksaber's not a thing, I still want to see Grogu in some armor. I think that would be dope as fuck. But Grogu's a little thing, so we got to see him grow, so that means time has to pass. So maybe the next time we see the Mandalorian, 20, 30 years has passed, and he's been training as an apprentice for a while, but now the next time we see Grogu, he can talk, he can voice things. I don't know. I think it's probably not going to be that long, and the next time we see them is probably going to be in the Ahsoka series coming out in August. I can't wait for that. That show is going to be very good, but it felt like this season of The Mandalorian kind of fell off a little bit because of Ahsoka. Like, it felt like they were shifting focus to Ahsoka and instead of finishing this. But what are you going to do? So Din Djarin and his apprentice Grogu go back to Navarro, and Greef Karga gives him a plot of land, so they get this little hut. Din's happy he's with his little boy, and Grogu's happy he's playing with a frog out front of their house. But that's the last shot, you know. Din's got his feet holed up, Grogu's playing with a frog, and then it just kind of, that's the finale, you know. And it's like, what? That's not really a great ending, but it does set up, you know, kind of the future. Din does go to Carson Teva at that bar where he saw Zeb a couple episodes back, and he asks him, hey, I was a bounty hunter by trade, but I'm going to have to be picking up work, and so I don't think he's going to be bounty hunting necessarily, but he's going to be calling Carson Teva and the New Republic for work, and he's going to be going after bad guys. He's going to be hunting down Imperial people and or whatever he decides to hunt down that is safe for Grogu to learn. But I think that's going to be at least a more compelling season where what people really want. More like the first season where he's hunting down bounties and he ends up getting Beskar and finding Grogu. And that was what the whole thing was about. And then, I don't know, this season felt like they felt like they needed a big bad, and they brought back Moff Gideon. I just don't think they really needed to. And are all those clones really dead? Is Moff Gideon really dead? We still don't really know. So we'll find out eventually, but I don't know. Comment below. What do you guys think of this? It's crazy. But Bo-Katan's story's kind of done. Her and the Armorer relight the Great Forge on Mandalore, so they're in Axe Woves and all of them are with her and the Armorer, so they're doing for Mandalore stuff. So their arc's kind of done. They're back on their home planet. Where else are they gonna go? Grogu and Din are now going to be on this apprenticeship, and they're going to be next season, hopefully next season. They could end it here if they really wanted to, and just imply that they've been on this journey for however long till the next time we see them. I think either a passage of time, and the next time we see Grogu, he's talking, this is the way, he's grown a little bit, he's maybe got a lightsaber somehow, we don't know. Like, he could go back to the Jedi, or he could get an armor and he's now a Mandalorian. Like, I think he's chosen more of the Mandalorian path, but I still think he's using the Force and stuff. Like, he's still not going to be just a regular Mandalorian. He's going to be a Force-wielding Mandalorian. So maybe they make another Darksaber somehow. Maybe, what's her name, Bo-Katan picked up the hilt and they remake the hilt or something, but I don't know. I've never seen a lightsaber hilt get crushed, I don't think. So, I don't know. Leaves a lot of questions. But what do you think? Does next season, with Din and Grogu having weekly adventures of Din Grogu trying to become a full Mandalorian and serve his master and be the apprentice that he needs to be? I don't know, man. I think it was good. I think it could have been better. I'd be upset if there's not a season 4, but if there is done, I'm excited for Ahsoka, and I can't wait for that. And just real quick, I want to shout out New Rockstars merch, which is what it used to be called. I think now it's called nerdriot.shop, but they have all the best Mandalorian t-shirts, all the best nerdy stuff for all of my favorite shows, whether it be She-Hulk or Captain America Winter Soldier or Loki or Shang-Chi or Guardians of the Galaxy coming up. They come out with the best shirts for all of the favorite nerdy stuff going on right now. So I'm sure they'll come out with Ahsoka stuff in August. I'm sure they'll come out with Guardians of the stuff in May. They came out with Mandalorian stuff and what else did I get? Oh, they came out with John Wick stuff. So I got a Baba Yaga shirt. This also has a little print on the back, so this isn't a cool one, but shout out to them for always having the best stuff. But this is it for me, y'all. Follow me on Instagram at ComicallyBoston. I'll leave the link in the description below. That is my new Instagram, so go check that out. And I also have my Twitter at BigCamYouTube, so follow that. Leave the links in the description below. Smack that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell if you don't want to miss any future videos. Celtics playoff right now, so go Celtics tomorrow night versus the Hawks. Game 3, round number 1. So that should be exciting stuff. And I will see you guys in the next video. Be safe. Be well.